Hi, and welcome to this series, the Pressure Free Living interview series that I'm doing for the month of April. It is Stress Awareness Month, and I thought it would be a really great idea to connect with colleagues around the country, Australia, Canada, bring in some interesting people, a varied group of people to talk about how we can have less stress, less anxiety, sleep better, and lead the way many of us, many of the people who follow me, wish to lead. So I have a wonderful leader right here. It's Nadine Lavigne, and we met about a month ago, I think, Nadine.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, you have quite an interesting background. I'd love for you to introduce yourself, and then we'll just dive right in.
absolutely. So, yes, as you said, Nadine Lavigne. Um, where do I begin? Gosh, so, I'll start with my career journey, which is probably the interesting piece. It's where it's kind of how I started defining myself, right? So I joined corporate right out of college. So I joined GE, and I was there for almost 16 years in a variety of different roles. Everything from, like global supply chain through various different HR roles, and then eventually moved to Boeing. So another huge company, high stress, pressure cooker, right? That sort of environment, very male dominant environment as well. Um, I was at Boeing for 3 or 4 years and then went on to another tech company, went on to IBM. So my past career has been with these pretty large corporate companies, and I will say I felt every bit of what you're talking about, right? The stress, the challenges. I talk a lot about how I wore a mask. I wasn't really myself.
All
I
right, right.
I hid, right. I hid behind what I thought I was supposed to be, as opposed to being very much my authentic, real self. And only recently started, you know, standing, leaning into being myself and standing up as my own person. But yeah, I mean, throughout those various HR roles that I did, I did everything from talent acquisition and a lot of hiring of young talent out of universities, and then also leadership programs built and delivered, facilitated, designed, like all different areas of leadership programs, management development. Crotonville, for those that are familiar with GE, I've spent some time there. Um, so yeah, it's been a journey, and
Hmm.
I am grateful for the opportunities that I had. So grateful that I call myself, like, I grew up GE, and I'm grateful for that. But it was tough. It was tough.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some of it was during the Jack Welch times. Things were cutthroat. And the stress and the pressures were real. And then being a woman in that environment was another added layer of complexity, where I didn't feel like I could always be myself. So um, now I'm off on my own, and I love it. It's fantastic. I'm consulting. I'm doing a lot. Yeah. So now I'm able to really lean into being myself, and still using some of that background and expertise.
You know,
But
it's interesting about being yourself. I ran a symphony for years, and I would joke with my husband that I kind of dressed like a 60-year-old woman when I was 28 and got the executive position, right?
there
Because
you go.
literally, like that was how I had to be. That's how I had to go to church. Like that's how I had to be in the community. And then I didn't
Yes.
really have like play clothes. I had my kids' sweats. I wore my kids' hockey sweats, right?
Hey,
So I
whatever
didn't
works.
really have like play clothes. It was very funny. So when we transitioned into a different role, it's like, what do I wear? Who am I? Like, who are we? And
Yeah.
we do play roles. And I don't know if I was the leader, so I was pretty strong. But
Yeah.
but definitely had a look, if you will, which was kind of interesting.
Yes. And you were, I mean, not you, but people in that environment were expected to look a certain way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there were times where, it's kind of like, well, do I really have to wear a suit? Like, do I really have to wear black pants and a button-down shirt every day? And I started to actually push back against some of that. And then, of course, that was, oh, well, I might not be promotable, right?
Right, right.
So then you backpedal, and you're like, oh, well, this is my career. I don't want to not be successful. If this is what it means to be successful, I'll play the part.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and only recently like I said, I really have encountered a number of other people, whether it's coaches, mentors, peers, that have helped me understand that there's so much more behind the authenticity, building trust with people, creating an environment that allows people to feel like they can talk to you. And those things ultimately mean they mean more in a business setting and still can deliver the results that are expected. So like there's still a way to get the business results, but in a more authentic, real way. And
Hmm.
so that's what I've leaned into a lot recently.
Wow, that's really interesting. I still remember the transition to like more casual at Kellogg Company,
Yeah.
where I would go for a meeting, and but there was a definite difference between I knew who I was meeting with based on how they were dressed, because the people at the very top still wore suits,
Yeah.
so I thought it was kind of interesting when that transition was going on in the 90s and 2000s,
Yeah.
to more casual wear,
Yeah. It
Well,
happened, but it was still, as you said, in pockets. There was still an expectation in certain meetings, right?
that's right. That's right.
And being the only woman in like a majority of my meetings, so you're sitting around and they're all dressed in a certain way, and you're thinking, well, diversity wasn't expected. It wasn't celebrated. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, you're different. And
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
it was,
Um,
it was interesting.
so now you've leaned into work on your own,
Yes.
and I'd love for you to share what are some strategies or tips that you feel would be beneficial, based on all this knowledge that you have, and like what are some things that you see your clients take as big takeaways? What do you see?
In terms of stress management
Yeah, yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
I'm actually doing a session tomorrow, with a group, and one of the things that I'm sharing with them is really getting so clear on priorities. I think a lot of times people get stressed because there's this to-do list that's this long, right? And then their son or daughter or husband or wife, someone's coming in the door and asking for something, and there's all these distractions as well as your own list of to-dos. We're always moving the goalpost. We're always trying to achieve more, more, more. And we just can't. And that causes a lot of stress because the expectations are so high. So I'm talking to the team tomorrow about like, okay, let's step back and really prioritize. What are the things that are of most value to you? Is it spending time with your kids? All right, then when they come in, focus on that. How would you prioritize your day? And if there was one thing that made today successful, what would that one thing be? And have that be the focus of your day as well, right? And maybe it's three things because maybe like there's a better way to, depending on the person and the role and all, right? But you really have to start the day with intention and
Mhm.
try to say, these are the things that I really need to accomplish to call today a success. Um,
Well, that's a great tip. That is such a great tip. And I think about the book, The One Thing. Are you familiar with that book, The One Thing?
Actually, no.
Oh, you'll
Oh my
love
gosh.
it. So you can kind of
I'm
think
gonna
about
have
it
to
in
look it up.
terms of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. I mean, the big takeaway is like, what is the one thing?
Hmm.
You can even do it in a time block. That's what I teach my clients. It's like, okay, in this time block, what's the one thing that if you got that done, you would know that you've got traction.
You're like, I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can look at it as you know, take the life wheel, if you will, but like, oh, what's the one thing in your day with the other parts of your life too? But
Yeah.
especially when it comes to work, like so many times we'll piddle around on the easy stuff.
Yes, and keep procrastinating the really hard stuff
Ding,
and
ding,
just
ding,
do
ding,
the
ding.
fun stuff. Yes, yes. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I've been doing email and just monotonous responses for an hour, and I really should have been working on something else.
Yeah. Like when I ran the symphony, I had to train my staff. You shouldn't see me here. Like if I'm doing my job, I'm raising money out there.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
I like spend too much time in my office, you should actually come in and ask me what the heck I'm
What's
doing.
going on? Yeah,
I
exactly.
should be out there.
Yeah. The other one, and I think this is right in my similar and right in line, is there's always going to be stress. Like stress, I personally believe stress is inevitable, but it's how we manage it and finding time in our day to whether it's pause, reflect, take a breath, take a walk, whatever works for you and whatever your stress management techniques are, you've got to build in that time because otherwise it's just going to keep compounding. I think it's you can't just remove stress.
No, no. And I think
It's always going to be
people
there.
who are driven want challenges. They want
Yeah.
stressors. We thrive on it in a
Yeah.
way.
Actually, yeah.
As long as we don't, the way I put it is as long as we don't trigger the stress response. So we can have as many stressors and challenges coming at us, but if we can refrain from not triggering the stress response, we don't harm ourselves. And that's the differentiator.
Figuring out that trigger, I suppose, too,
Mhm.
right? Like what
Yeah.
triggers that response? Yeah.
Yeah, I love how you said distractions. It could just be the distraction is the thing that triggers you, you know?
Yes, like your phone constantly beeping or yeah, whatever it is. Yes.
Yeah, I had a guy like his phone was in his like a holster thing,
Yeah.
and when it would vibrate, it was like a taser. I go, "Oh, it's your phone. Your phone is going off and tasering you." Like every time his nervous system would, you know? And so I said, I think maybe if you just take your belt, your holster thing off, like it's the thing that goes on the belt, just
Yeah.
get the phone off your body because it's actually like a physical vibrating trigger.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah, that would be very stressful. Yeah. Yes.
I can't even put it on vibrate like on a wood table, like that
Oh
type of
yeah, it
crazy.
drives me nuts. Yeah, exactly. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
So yeah, distractions, sounds. Um, I get real granular with my clients. Like it could, sometimes we get the easy ones, but then we
Yeah.
have to go deeper because most of the people I work with are for the most on the outside, they look pretty calm, cool, collected, right?
Yeah, but then you dig in.
Then we dig in. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, now I see it. Now
I
I
think a
see
lot
it.
of times those are the people that are struggling the most. They're putting on a happy face and they're putting on some sort of mask, but reality is they're hiding something and they're the one that's being strong when they're not. They're
Mhm.
being strong for someone else.
Mhm.
Potential.
Yeah. I think a lot of us tend to do that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Another tip, another thought.
Oh gosh. I had one too. Um, well, so one of the things, well, I mean, I guess physical activity, I'm going to say, because I actually posted about this
Okay.
just today, as it being Earth Day.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of times where just the actual, and this is the physical response to what's going on, and physically standing up and walking away and going and doing something. And I'll even mention like there's times when I think to myself, no, I need to stay here and finish this. I'm in the zone. I need to stay here and continue to work on it. And the best thing I could do is get away and go take a walk. And I've never regretted it ever because two things happen. One, you're physically moving, right? Your blood's flowing, you're outside. There's, healthy benefits to the fresh air, et cetera. But your brain is actually getting the chance to pause and reflect that it doesn't get when you're constantly processing and typing and thinking. And I mean, most of my best ideas come in the shower at 2 a.m., right? When your brain is at rest. So I think that's the other one is, yeah, you just have to force some time in there to ensure that our brains get a chance to. I mean, that's when they process, right? And then the good ideas happen because
Yeah.
they can't process if they're in constant motion. So
And if you think about humans were in motion and outside most of the time. They would go in for shelter and to sleep, but otherwise we were outdoor animals,
yeah,
really until about 150 years ago. But
yeah,
before then, we were always outside, no matter what the weather. Like
true.
we were
Yeah,
outside. And so there's definitely something to motion. I get some of my best ideas. Actually, we're talking about long drives. When I drive back to the East Coast, these ideas like flood my head. I write some fiction too, and it's like, it's
You're
great.
right. Actually, that happened to me last time I was driving too, and I kept picking up my phone, opening the notes thing and doing like talk to text of notes because yes, same thing
Mhm.
happened because I was just sitting, driving, and my brain was like kind of processing everything. And when that happens, more ideas come together. Things start connecting, like the
Mhm.
synapses are firing or whatever is going on in there.
Yeah,
The neuroscience is cool, and I'm trying to learn more about it. But
yeah.
whatever's going on, it can only happen when our brain is having a chance to rest.
Mhm. And when we're in motion too, um, and we'll have some solopreneurs who are watching this. It can be very like you can have weird up and downs when you're on your own. And my colleague and I, my accountability partner, we found that when we're in motion, that's when like we'll get the strangest text or email like, wow, I really want to work with you now. Like I'm in,
Okay.
I'm like
Yeah.
in New York City meeting with my writing coach, and I get this weird message like someone's been following me for months. I had no idea. Now they're ready
That's
to work with me.
wild.
So it's like
Yeah.
something about the motion, which I again, I take that kind of to the energetic level. Like you're just in a higher vibration, and it's just taking you to a place
Yeah.
that, and certainly travel, motion. Um,
Putting the energy out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting because
Yeah.
COVID changed us. Like we got very closed up, and so it's fascinating to be back in motion more.
Hmm.
I mean, I was always outside, no matter what. But
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
yeah.
And either always in my car or walking or yeah, always around people. And now it's you're right, it's still different. Home
Totally
office.
different. It's getting better. It's
It
getting better. Yeah.
but
So
but I will
prioritizing being in motion, like taking those, like even a moment. I even do some teach some motions like right in your chair. Like if
okay.
you
Yeah.
can't stay, like but you gotta get it going, you know.
Yeah. I feel like if I sit in my chair here, I look around and I'm like, oh, I have to do that. And then all of a sudden, I'm like picking up a thank you note and starting to write a thank you note because that's a pile that's like right here, so I can't even stay in the chair. I have to go.
Oh, that's good. I love it.
um, but because I know, and this comes back to prioritizing, that's okay. Like if that thank you note gets written tomorrow or the day after, or even next week, that's going to be okay. But there's other things that I absolutely need to get done today.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it you have to be crystal clear on your goals and what those priorities are to meet the goals.
Um, I want to share a quick story because it connects to this, and it's about
Yeah.
children. So my son, my youngest son, came home from track practice. It was like the first really pretty day of spring. He walks in the door and he goes, Mother, you want to go play tennis? Now I was busy working on the computer, and I say my non-pressure free self, like before pressure free, I would have
Yeah.
said, I would have held up my hand probably and said, well, I have to finish this and make dinner, so how about after supper? I would have put off being with him, right? Instead, I stopped, I looked at him and I go, sure, absolutely, let's go. And I didn't even change my clothes. I just threw on my tennis shoes. We
Yes.
just played. And we played for like 20 minutes and it became a pattern. So that was 20, he was 16, so 2016. Okay. Fast forward, he went to Colombia. He's now back here working with his brothers. We get a call last week. He goes, um, listen, what are you doing at 5:30? You want to play tennis?
Oh, I love it.
So we play Canadian doubles, my husband and I on
I-
one side, he on the other side, and we have such a blast. But
Yeah.
if I had stopped that energy, that first ask, I don't think it ever would have happened, and our relationship would not be the relationship it is today.
Yeah.
Like he ran Boston Marathon yesterday. In the past couple times, he goes, "Mother, want to come to Boston with me?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So, we just do stuff
Yeah.
together
Yes.
because we created the pattern.
Yes.
Because I realized I could take this project and do it after dinner.
Yep.
I could take my time block and shift it.
Yes.
And so when you said priorities, that's what popped in my head. It's like I've shifted so many priorities when I got de-stressed. Before I wouldn't have seen
Yeah.
it, couldn't
Yeah.
have seen it, you know? But
I
when,
mean, that's actually what was in my head too. I have a like very, very similar stories. And part of it is because my son is a junior in high school. So, I'm at this point where I'm like, oh no, I don't want to see him go off to college. And he'll ask me to go do something, and I'm like, I don't really want to go do it. It's cold or but I don't care. I say yes. I say yes to everything now. And I can always go back and do the work,
yeah,
right? The work will be there.
oh my gosh,
And to
you'll
your point,
never regret it.
right, you'll never regret it. And like I can open my laptop and do something later when he's asleep or when he's playing video games with his friends later. But he's asking me right now,
Right.
answer's yes.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I love it
Yeah.
so much. It's a game changer. Really, it is.
Yes.
You know,
And
it's
it,
really
it is for
fun.
them. They know they can ask you.
Mhm.
They know, they're not going to say, I won't even ask mom. She's too busy.
That's right. They stop asking if you deny it, even just once, they may never ask again.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's the
Yeah.
way with really any relationship. When there's a, don't they teach us in improv, like when there's no in
Oh,
improv?
yes, and or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
Yep.
yeah, so because otherwise it kills the creative energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's kind of a huge takeaway tonight. Like I think about that, that
Yeah.
idea of prioritizing and then what are you saying yes to? And yeah, I love it.
I often, and just diving one more, diving just a little bit deeper, I often do think about, and again, it's time blocking. What can I, like, if I know I have a doctor appointment to go to with my daughter, or I'm going to go to her swim practice and I'm going to sit, in the bleachers and wait for her, what do I know I can do then? And I'll save those tasks for at swim practice. Like, okay, I might not have great internet, but I can use Word or PowerPoint or whatever. So I'll save those tasks for then. And I'll do
Brilliant.
other things that I absolutely need to do with really, with high speed internet or with my kids or at home, like throw a load of laundry in. Can't do that while I'm on the bleachers. So I really think about the day and the tasks and where I can do the various tasks most efficiently as well. And that's helped a lot because I'm
Oh,
still
that's beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, because the tasks don't stack up as much. You're just kind of swapping them around.
Hmm. I know. Bless us. Bless our parents who dragged us to everything.
Right,
There were
right.
three of us, all in music lessons, all in sports, all in concerts. It's just like,
Yes, yes. Waiting in the car, doing things, and we're like, okay, well, I can do homework in the car.
Yeah. There's
You
there's
know?
so many things that you can do. And I think you're bringing another point into it though, taking another level. It's like, what is the spirit in which you're doing it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when you've chosen, I'm gonna get this done while I'm here, then you're like in a happy mood working on your thing while the swim practice is going on. Do you know what I mean?
yes. Because you've already said, like, okay, I've set aside this time. It's going to be okay. It'll have that time to get done then. And now it allows me a more free space. You don't feel like you've got your long to-do list right now. You've already set aside, oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow morning. I'm going to do this while I'm sitting at swim practice. I'm going to, right? And so those are kind of off your plate in a sense because you've
Mhm,
set aside different various times for them, which
mhm.
gives you the space right now to just breathe and be like, okay, I can get the tasks done now that I know I really need to get done now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's a really
focus time. Yeah.
right.
Wow. Oh, this is a great session. I hope people are loving it as much as I am because it's like the one thing, focus, prioritize, chunk. You're
Yeah.
chunking things and then your habit stacking in a way. Well, you have to go to the swim practice. So what's that thing you're bringing along?
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit. That's true. You could call it habit stacking because if it's a habit to go to certain things or do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that you're thinking in that mode. Whenever you have to go somewhere and you know you'll just be waiting, you're not actively watching a swim meet, you're at the practice, you
Right.
know?
I've even thought about that in terms of working out. Like, well, I can do work when it's dark out, but I'm not gonna like right now, I'm talking with you, right? I can't be working out at 9:30 at night. I'll never fall asleep,
Right.
So I worked out earlier today and then I do this tonight, so you just have to find the times that make the most sense based on, I mean, by now I feel like I'm doing it naturally, but at first it was very intentional. Look at
Mhm.
every day, look at like beginning of the week, look at the week and move the boxes literally around on my calendar, on my Outlook calendar and say, okay, I'm actually going to run to the grocery store here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to work out here. I'm going to do this here. I'm going to, so I was very, very intentional. Now I kind of do it on the fly because
You
I've
built it because you
yeah,
built that pattern. Yeah.
right. Done the reps. Yeah.
That's a really great point too, that if you discipline yourself to create patterns, once you've created those patterns, then you don't have to actually like it just becomes what you do.
Yeah. Becomes natural.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you and I were both college athletes, so we're used to discipline and
You know what I think? I really do think that. I think because, it was now that you're saying this, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, because there were nights where it's like, well, I have a swim meet. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be on the bus. Well, I can study on the bus, but I've got to do that. Like I really had to plan everything out
everything,
because we
everything.
were so busy. Yeah.
I mean, I rode, so there I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning when we
Yeah.
had early practice. So it was crazy. And I was in a triple going to bed at 8:30 at night. Like it
Yeah.
was so crazy. It
Yeah.
was so crazy. And it's interesting to think about. There's times, one of the things I've done at one of my retreats is had people reflect back to a time where they were doing something and their energy was just so big, especially if you feel like you're in a slump.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what were you doing and how did that feel? And can you bring that energy somehow into what you're doing now?
Yeah.
And when I think about those college sports years and I was in music too, it's like sometimes I wouldn't get home from a concert till 11 or 12. And now I have to get up at 4:30 and go
Yeah.
row.
Yeah. But it was amazing. We were pretty resilient as
We
kids, you know?
were. Yeah. We
Uh,
made it somehow.
yeah. 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 But it taught us a lot.
It taught us
And
a lot and I think
something
it built stretch.
yeah.
It built
Yeah.
stretch. I work on that with my clients too. It's like somebody asked me, I can't believe you're doing these interviews at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, that's a great stretch. I'm
Yeah.
fine. You look
Yeah.
fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, geez, I mean, and I am, right? I mean, I had things that I did today and I just shifted, like I said, I shifted around the schedule. I was like, well, I gotta do this. I gotta be home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Well,
Yeah.
we're already at 9:28.
Yeah.
Uh, how can people find you? And you work with teams and individuals,
I
Nadine?
do. Yes. So what I'm doing now is kind of unique. So I am right. So I'm consulting, and actually partnering with a larger company to do some consulting through them. So they have a few larger clients, and they do coaching, teamwork, team development, um, leadership development. They design it, deliver it, the whole shebang, like end to end, huge year-long programs. Um, so if it's like a big contract, it's something that I'm working on through them typically. But then if it's smaller engagements, individuals, or just a workshop here and there, a quarterly workshop, those are typically through my own LLC. So it's a little bit of both, which is kind of nice because my foot's a little bit still in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Um, and while I don't need that, I think they appreciate that. So when I went into the client last week, they know that someone's standing in front of them that's like a facilitator that's an expert in leadership development. But then I was like, oh, well, I actually spent 20 plus years in corporate at GE and Boeing and IBM. And they're like, oh, she gets it. She knows PowerPoint and status, status meetings and all the things that occur and
Yeah.
cause a lot of stress and pressure. So
Yeah.
that's been, it brings a lot of credibility to the table.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Nadine, thank you so much for this. I'm going to
You
close
will.
out our Facebook here
Yeah.
and close out the recording. Thanks for watching. And we still have, let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So three more interviews are going to be coming up.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.